Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. And Craig, guess what day it is?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
That's right, folks. It is Hump Day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as we always say, the fun is always in the trying.
That's it. It's a hump day, and my biggest hump today, Craig, is I've been outside cutting the grass for 4 or 5 hours. So it's
oh joy,
it's, brutal.
Out on the back 40.
Brutal. Yeah, I'm trying to get it all cut down before the rains kick back in. And here, let me see if you can see what it says, what it feels like here.
Oh wow,
it's like 102. It's like 102.
Oh,
so it's been fun. It's been fun.
Well, I always try and get it done early in the morning if I can, for that very reason, although I almost always fail to get it done early in the morning. But it is what it is.
Listen, it's that time of year for us where, listen, it's like, we got friends up north that ride motorcycles, right? And for 5-6 months out of the year, they put their bikes up in winter storage. Well, that's what I do with my lawnmower, because for 5 or 6 months down here, we don't cut our grass. It just stays the same length. But this time of year, it's 2-3 times a week. You've got to do it. I can tell you, I started cutting 4 hours early today. When I finished this afternoon and went back to the other side of the property, it was already like an inch taller.
Wow.
It just grows that fast.
I remember when I had a property, it was that first time you mowed it, it was big enough. It took twice as long because you couldn't cut the grass. You had to cut it at a long length because it was so long. You had to cut it long, and then you had to go over it all over again at the normal length that you wanted it.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. It's an art form here. Yeah.
Well, thank God for riding lawnmowers with cup holders.
Yeah, exactly right. That's right. Very good. Very good.
All right. Well, while I have very much enjoyed the banter, it's time to get into today's program. But let's begin as we usually do by giving a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep. Let's say hi to hitmanindustries.net. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you've got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels, don't even know it. Now you could buy from them direct for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Please pay special attention to the California 6th Congressional. Hog Holsters, HAWGholsters.com. If you want the best tactical concealed holster on the market, get your butts over to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get a nice little discount there. And if you want some awesome field gear, tactical gear, go into the woods kind of gear, go check out our friends at uscombatgear.com.
Folks, just to give once again a shout out, those of you, some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am running for Congress in California's 6th Congressional District. That is what Mike is referring to. Look, the first reporting deadline for fundraising is really, really important, because this is where folks are going to determine whether or not you're serious about how much money you can raise. So if you can help out, I don't care, no donation is too small. $3,300 donation by an individual, anything above that is too big. But, if you've got a spouse, they can also give $3,300. But anyway, whatever you do, if you could help out, please help out. CraigDeLuz.com. CraigDeLuz.com is the place to give. And finally, once again, just want to remind you, these are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do yourself a favor. Do them a favor. Do us a favor. Hey, visit them. All you got to do is follow the links in the description to this program and go there, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Also want to make sure that you take a moment, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. All right, let's get into today's stories. Our first story comes from Johns Hopkins University. And, you know, you might remember there was a film out not too long ago. It's a documentary. In fact, it's still out. It's called What is a Woman? It's by a guy named Matt Walsh. He is a contributor over at the Daily Wire. But he wanted to do a movie, basically, and what he really wanted to do was challenge the orthodoxy of the whole gender identity thing that we're dealing with right now. You know, because people want to call pretty much anything or anyone a woman. And the interesting thing is that, you know, they had a hard time. Most of the people he talked to on the left, whether they were all pro-transgender. They all definitely were advocating for promoting it in schools, promoting it to kids, promoting it to children. No holds barred on the gender transition surgery or anything like that. But all in an attempt to make a man into a woman. But what they could not do was tell you what a woman was. Well, interestingly, that has caused a bit of a problem for those in that industry because they can't define a woman, they can't really use it to define anything else. So Johns Hopkins University, and you know, when I did my tweet earlier today, I referred to them as a credible, and I should have probably respected. I should have probably put it in quotes, but I quoted it as a respected university. But they're basically being raked over the coals because they are racing women. And here's what happened. So Johns Hopkins University, generally known for its prestige, has found itself in hot water and been forced to somewhat quietly delete entries for its LGBTQ glossary page. It's as a lesbian in part as a listen to this, as a non-man attracted to non-men. Rightly caused backlash for erasing women. Now, by the way, the internet is in fever, though, and screenshots around, including J.K. Rowling's, who has spoken out boldly in favor of women. And here's her post right here. It says, "Man, no definition needed. Non-man, formerly known as woman, is being definable only by reference to the male. An absence, a vacuum, wears the non-manness." Now, Mike, this is, once again, I'm just going to throw it out there. This is the whole transsectionality thing coming into conflict, because now you have women who are like, oh, wait, so you're a race of women, so there's no such thing as a man. In fact, you are defined solely by your relationship to men.
Yeah. Craig, this is just, you know, more of the same nonsense received, right? You know, I'm curious, just off the track, when are we going to see Johns Hopkins University renamed? I'm curious because Johns Hopkins, you know, it's recently been brought out that he and his family were all slave owners and had slaves in their house while John was a young man as well and an adult. And he fell in love with his 16-year-old cousin, and his religion forbid him to marry her, so they ended up not getting married but spending their lives together. So I'm curious if any of that's going to come out and we see the Johns Hopkins University get renamed, because one of their idols now has become one of the outcasts.
Well, clearly black people are lower on the what do they call it, the social justice, the intersectionality scale than are
right.
Women or trans people.
Yeah. Well, you know, and who was it? I think Dave Chappelle even made comments about that, right? You know, he about how quickly the LGBT was moving through, and he said, you know, something along the lines of, you know, I wish the African Americans had done that. We'd have gotten more rights much quicker. But now he made the point where it's gotten to the point where they're on the ridiculous scale of demanding things, right? And that's part of what this is. Now you can't be defined as a man or a woman. Now women are defined as non-men, right? In their category. You know, Craig, it just comes to a point where this stuff pops up and you just, all right, I see the story. I know it's more of the same. You know, you read it, so you're familiar with it, and then you just, it's almost not even discussed. You walk with anymore. It's just more, Oh, indifference. Oh, here they are. Here's the left doing more of their nonsense. When's the next election?
Well, but here's the thing. So by this very definition, dogs are lesbians. They are non-men attracted to non-men. So are squirrels and cats. In fact, the entire animal kingdom are now lesbians.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got a dog that licks a certain body part. He's not a very good lesbian. If that's
Yeah, you're not supposed to lick those if you're a lesbian. Just saying.
yeah, no, not at all.
No. Okay, let's get the show back. Let's get the show back on track. I could not resist that. I couldn't resist that joke. Oh, I'm like, if my wife listens, she's gonna be like, "Yeah, that was gross."
Yeah. There was 2 votes you just lost. Yep.
2 votes I just lost. Anyway, but how insane is it? Once again, that they cannot keep in mind now. We have a Supreme Court justice, an individual who currently sits on the United States Supreme Court, who cannot define what a woman is. So if a Supreme Court justice can't define what a woman is, what makes you think that Johns Hopkins University can tell you what it is?
You know what? That's what I'm saying. You know, where's the incentive? Where's the incentive to pay to play along with this at all? You know, you got the Supreme Court justice that refuses to identify what a woman is. You've got John Hopkins now giving the scapegoat, right? The escape, you know, I don't know what it is. Well, I'm just following John Hopkins rules. Maybe we should talk about this on Thursday when it's Throat Punch Thursday, because that's how you have to deal with these people.
Ooh, you know what? We might have to change Thirsty Thursday to Throat Punch Thursday. I think I like that. That you may have created a thing. Well, tell you what, we'll find out tomorrow.
There we go.
All right, moving right along. House passes resolution to undo Biden's pistol brace rule. And this is an important one, folks, because once again, he's put this thing in place, which is not really, once again, he's the ATF has attempted to redefine law. Right? Redefine what a firearm is in order to be, or an assault weapon, in order to be able to make this thing work. Right? Was not a new law. The Congress has passed no law banning pistol braces. They just decided they're going to make stuff up. And so the House has passed this. Now, the question is, will the Senate follow suit? Probably not. It probably won't even get heard in the Senate. But even if it did, then the question is, would Biden sign it? And that's what I think Cam Edwards gets into a little bit into his piece here over at Bearing Arms. He says, where are we at? Here we go. He says, by a vote of 219 to 210, the House of Representatives has signed off on Representative Andrew Clyde's resolution to repeal ATF's new rule on pistol braces, sending the measure to the Senate where it faces uncertain future. Joe Biden has already vowed to veto HJ Resolution 44 if it gets to his desk, but passage out of both chambers of Congress would still be an important win for gun owners, especially with the legal challenges to the rule underway in multiple jurisdictions in the country. And, you know, Mike, this raises a question for me. I'm wondering if when it comes to overturning a rule, right? In other words, a rule being something that was put in place by the executive, I'm wondering if the president should have any say in that. If if they're overturning a rule that he's made, shouldn't a simple majority of both houses of the legislature be enough? I mean, common sense would tell me that would make sense, because now he has to sign a bill to overturn something that he did.
Yeah, I think if I recall the procedurally, what has to happen in order to get an executive order overturned, you need both houses of Congress to pass that, or you need the Supreme Court to overturn its constitutionality. I just to be clear, folks, this is this is not President Biden did not sign an executive order getting rid of pistol braces. What he did was allow the ATF, an executive branch agency, to redefine certain words and certain items in there to make them what they believe now to be illegal. So it's not as if he signed the order, but he assigned the people that signed the order. You know, he picked the people that signed the order. So, and yeah, I think in order to get the again executive order overturned, that's either the next president, both houses, you know, Senate and House, or the Supreme Court has to do it. This, I would think, Craig, that if the House and the Senate both passed these saying it's outlawed, I think that's it. It's because it's not like you're creating a new law, right? You're not saying here's a new law that makes that law bad. You know, it's not like passing an amendment that gets rid of another amendment. This just says that's bad. We are the law writers, and we didn't write that. You know.
Oh no, you're totally right. It's ultimately this is about a couple of things. One, it's about the Second Amendment. Obviously, it's about them basically randomly going after firearm parts. In this case, that actually help people who are members of the disabled community. Now, that having been said, it's also about executive overreach and them once again attempting to redefine law. And make no mistake, you're right. He did not write an executive order, but what he did do was, I'm sure he gave the order for them to do this. I don't think they just randomly decided out of the blue, yeah, maybe we'll go after pistol braces. No,
right. Oh, we know that. We know. Yeah, he gave them the directive to go find a way to get rid of these. We know that. Yeah, that's for sure. But it's not something like we can go back and take away what he said. You know, we can't. We're not going against the president now to get away with remove this. We're going against an executive branch agency.
Right, which is under the president. So that's why I say I feel
correct. Yeah,
exactly. So. Yeah. In any case, it was good to see the House do that. It's been nice to see the House doing conservative things. I think a lot of people thought that McCarthy wouldn't do this stuff, but I'm glad to see that he's doing it.
You know, we'll see. You know, it's one of those. They're passing it, but they know it's not going to pass in the Senate. So what difference does it make? You know, to quote your former nominee there.
Yep.
And I'm also curious to see who the three Republicans are that did not sign it or abstained or were out of town or whatever. Because you said 219 passed it. What's there, 222 Republicans, I believe?
Yeah. I'm imagining probably one of them is there's that guy from Texas. I forget his name, but there's a Republican congressman from southern part of Texas who probably, in my opinion, needs to go.
Yeah.
But he's pretty anti-gun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Republican from Texas. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get to be a Republican from Texas and be anti-gun? I don't know, but he seems to be figuring it out.
Maybe him and Beto are buddy boys. I don't know.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
All right. Moving right along. Okay. This was a good one. The ex-border chief. Now, you know, the guy who was over the border, he has resigned or he's retired. And now that he is no longer serving, he is free to come out and speak his mind about what is going on. And he made it clear that letting migrants into the U.S. was the only agenda of DHS when Biden appointed Alejandro Mayorkas and took office. Let me read here. It said allowing more migrants to cross the border into the U.S. was the only thing on the agenda for Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas when he entered power with President Biden's administration. Former Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott testified Wednesday. Scott made the statement under questioning from the House Homeland Security Committee during a hearing focused on Mayorkas' alleged dereliction of duty. The former federal official testified that Mayorkas is not incompetent and that he knew what the effect of his policies would have. Okay, so I'm wrong. This is not the guy who's just about to retire, but this is the guy who retired before him. But he's making it very clear. This guy, and I didn't believe that Mayorkas was incompetent. I believe Mayorkas is a liar. I believe that he is implementing the policy that Biden wanted, which was get him in, get him in, get him in. When he brags about hiring new staff, he's hiring new staff in order to decrease the processing time it takes to let people illegally enter the country.
Yeah, I noticed in the article they misspelt a word or two wrong there. It says migrant instead of newly paid Democratic voters. So,
well, normally I would agree with you, but for people who have migrated here, actually let me clarify, maybe just those who've migrated legally, they're finding that as they become citizens and they're able to vote, they're not voting overwhelmingly Democrat. That might have something to do with, the whole,
well,
LGBTQ, DEI stuff that they're pushing on our kids. But,
right.
I don't want to make any assumptions.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, Craig, but what would you guess the number of legal immigrants are to the number of illegal immigrants are right now?
I do not know, but I'm willing to bet you it's if it's not equal, the number of legal immigrants is probably slightly ahead.
You say legal is higher than illegal?
I still think legal is higher. Well, it used to be. I don't know if it is now. I don't know if it is in the numbers they're coming across our southern border now.
Good question. We'll have to get our crack staff on this. Maybe we'll go over it tomorrow. But I'd be willing to bet it's a ridiculous proportion different. But at this point,
we will definitely have to find out. Okay, let's see. What do we have next on the agenda? Oh, Mike will love this one. Donald Trump raises $2 million after arraignment. I just don't know how many times we have to say this to Democrats. It's like every time you go after him, it's like throwing cans of Popeye at spinach. Or cans of spinach at Popeye. Cans of Popeye at spinach. Cans of spinach at Popeye. This guy, I mean, he just literally, he went out and he gave a speech right afterwards. And he talked about everything. And during that speech, once again, he raised $2 million. Literally just pointing out how he's being attacked, pointing out how they're going after him. And the problem, I think, is that there are a lot of people out there who, even if they were inclined to go another direction, feel like, look, this guy's under attack. We need to get behind him. We need to support him. There's a reason they don't want him to be president. And so people are getting behind him. And, I'm like, if you believe that he is the worst possible thing that could happen to the United States, him becoming president again, then you need to stop feeding him.
Yeah. Right. Listen, I think I know his new campaign song. It's going to be by DJ Khaled and Snoop Dogg and Ludacris. It's going to be "All I Do Is Win, Win, Win." That's because that's this guy, right? 31 indictments an indictment with 31 separate charges against him. Boom. Oh, there's $2 million more in the bank account. Okay, gotcha. Way to go, Democrats. Great plan. I'd like to say that I think they're smart enough, Craig, that maybe they're doing this because they think that Biden can beat them. They think that's the plan because it worked before. And then I realized that's even stupider than what they're doing right now. So it's just, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And it's going to be fun to watch. And we got in this talk yesterday about voter integrity. Let's just call it that, voting integrity, right? How many thousands of people do you think are going to be at every polling site this time, Craig, to make sure everything's counted correctly?
I have no idea, but
yeah. So last time we had a couple, and you listen, like you saw it in Pennsylvania, you saw some places where they got locked out. I think there's literally going to be hundreds or thousands of people at these sites where they accumulate and count all the votes to make sure they have integrity or voting integrity there. So,
right. I'm sorry, I was going to play this for you.
That's all right. Here we go. All I do is win, win, win. Are we going? See, now the perfect way to make this video, Craig, right? Now you have that going on there, but now you put Donald Trump on Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball swinging in the background. You got him on the Wrecking Ball singing, all I do is win, win, win.
I could totally see that. I could definitely, totally see that. Yeah, I just didn't know. I was like, okay, it's like he gave me the mental picture. I've got to play it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Anyway, but that's kind of, I mean, dude, what are you gonna do, right? I mean, that is kind of his thing now. It's if you guys keep feeding him, you keep making it easy for him to win, you can't be surprised when he, in fact, does.
They're charging this guy with everything, Greg. It's amazing. I hear that District Attorney Jim Garrison in New Orleans is going to prosecute him for the Kennedy assassination next. So,
whoa, that would be odd. All right, well, folks, hey, it's about that time for us to get into our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Get your Hog Holster at hogholster.com. Make sure you use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. See, it's right up there. Look, it's all caps, the, and rundown, right? All one word. So use it. Do it today. Do it now. All right. Some of these. Okay, so let me share some of these with you. Oh, you'll love this one. What's the word I'm looking for? In 2050, they're still going to be going after Donald Trump, and this is what it's going to look like. You want to describe it real quick, Mike?
Is that Dr. Zayas from is that Dr. Zayas?
It does look like it, doesn't it?
It's the screaming woman. See, I said woman, a screaming woman from the 2016 election when Trump beat old Hillary, and now it says 2050. They got Trump this time. They got him. They're gonna get him.
Mike, you have to use the appropriate terminology. It's the screaming non-man.
The screaming non-man. Let's see. Listen, I'm doing the math though. Listen, by 2050, let's see, that will mean that at that point, let's see, we'll have, so from 2024 to 28 is Donald Trump Sr. will be president. From 28 to 36, Ivanka will be president. From 36 to 44 will be Eric, and then Don Jr. gets it. This will be during the last 2 years of Don Jr.'s presidency. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that having been said, the one thing you can also say about President Trump is, he's definitely keeping the legal industry busy. Here you have Donald Trump with a flag behind him with his MAGA hat on, with a new terminology, a new term or new acronym for MAGA. Making attorneys get attorneys.
There you go. Do it, Donald.
I'm serious, man. There is a reason why, I'll be honest, I did not. We had a Republican president. I opted not to work for him, and I opted not to try and apply to work in the White House or anything, because I'm like, he was so quick to throw his folks under the bus. I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to be that guy. I just don't want to be. Right. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And you got to know being his attorney is not easy.
Well, because they're making them the targets. The left are making the attorneys the targets.
Right.
Listen, is this guy all over the place? Because, those attorneys are used to playing by the rules of politics, and that's not what he plays by. He plays by the rules of business. I think if you want a successful attorney in the White House, you need to get you some corporate attorneys in there. You need to get you some of them suits guys, and they'll be able to do what needs to be done.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. By the way, I don't know if you heard, but inflation has gone down. Now, it hasn't deflated, so we're not talking about, so things haven't gotten cheaper. They're just not getting more expensive as fast. And that leads to our good friends over at the Babylon Bee and their new headline: Biden brags that he's destroying the economy at a slightly slower rate than before.
Yeah, it's true though. You're like, this is Babylon Bee, and that's the satire right there. That is the satire,
and it is sadly true.
Yep.
All righty. Well, hey, it's about that time. So before we go, we want to give one last shout out to our sponsors.
We shall say hey to Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. You can get yourself pistol and rifle caliber barrels at any length you want. Soon to come Glock barrels. Check them out at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. You can take part in California's future today. Please pay attention to the California 6th Congressional District race. And then, of course, if you want some awesome field gear, tactical gear, check out our friends at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Take a moment, visit our sponsors, let them know that we sent you. And on that note, we're going to call it a day. We're going to call it a shoe. And we will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. Tune in to find out. We'll be back. Mañana.